It is Wednesday, April 15th, 2026. The what what do we even call this? I mean, some people are calling it, V-shaped bottom and just hyper ramp. I mean, whatever you want to call it, we just keep going up. I mean, for today again, new historic high 7,026, the 10th daily gain of 11. I mean, look at that. A couple of days ago, little down day, followed by a bullish engulfing candle on Monday. Moderate gap higher yesterday, and we just keep going. No gap today, by the way, so we don't have to worry about that. And now we're above the January high. I mean, RSI is 69, so we're borderline overbought. But again, today's candle is offering zero sign of a turn. I guess we are scraping along the upper Bollinger, but that's going to go up another 20, 30 points tomorrow. Cyclically, I mean, look, there's no turn there. There's no cyclical turn. We don't even be the beginnings of a turn. And even if we were to max out, whether it's tomorrow, Friday, or next Monday, it's going to take at least all of next week and maybe most of the following week, end of month, for momentum to turn negative again. And that assumes we go down from where we are roughly here. Incredible ramp. What else? Let's not forget the Nasdaq, which created a new historic high. I mean, that was up for 11 days. 11 days. New historic high, RSI 71. So again, the actual historic high was actually from October. It's not here. So we had a double top roughly from 24K from late January to October of last year. And we cleared it. And we only cleared it by like 7 points, but still, we cleared it. And yeah, we're overbought, 71. And you can see I've marked on here the ceasefire gap. Again, in any cooling wave, that's the big target, ceasefire gap. Again, even if we come down to that, what are we going to do? Just kind of floor around here and off we go again into the summer? I struggle with this. This is like there's a big war going on. I mean, the implications of the fertilizer, the oil, nat gas shortages, the other chemicals, monstrous. Market doesn't care right now. I mean, it's only in the scheme of things. You think, well, what is this? Just a hyper bounce off of after like going down for the better part of what, 2 months, 2 and a bit months down, 11 days straight up. I mean, cyclically on the high end, volume was a little bit higher today. It's wild. VIX on a daily. Today's candle was not a reversal. We were just 0.01 points shy of a reversal candle. Little red cross there. Maybe that's a sign we're looking for. A little red cross. Again, this green gap, of course, is equivalent of the S&P orange gap. So I should probably label this as well. This should be called, this is a ceasefire gap. Gap down, of course, in case of VIX. Momentum has been on the low end now for 4 days. So we have a turn here. Don't have a turn in the S&P yet, but in the VIX, we do. But again, even at the current rate, you think we start ticking upwards, we're not going to be probably positive until at least after the 27th, unless there's some crazy news. But yeah, orange gap in the S&P, green gap for the VIX. Sooner or later, that's an eventuality, right? Let's move on to some individual stocks. Wow, look at that. 2.9% for Apple. We're breaking above the 50-day. Next resistance is going to be around what, 272, 273, this trend here. But I should drag this out. So where do you draw this? Like, if you do it there, or do you do it looser? I'm going to go with those two spikes. But yeah, nothing bearish for Apple. There's Archer Aviation up almost 7%. Agnico Eagle. Again, a lot of the miners had black candles yesterday, so this one did play out. Gold and silver down, of course. We'll look at them later. American Eagle. Yep, bouncing 9%. First Majestic Silver down 1.7 because silver was down. AMD 258 again. Keep an eye on whether this breaks above 266, 67. I mean, RSI 74 overbought. Every time it gets above 70, it does prone to maxing out. So, one to watch. Amazon. So, despite the main market today, Amazon is tired. Again, there's a ceasefire gap, which is a long way down right now. So, that's an issue. American Express. Looks like we have we printed 332, so we just shy of filling the gap, but you can see today's candle is a little spiky, and it's actually, no, it's not a black candle, but you can see this is a key resistance area. Barrick Mining stalling at the 50-day. Don't care about some of these. Bank of America at 1.8% earnings were good. Today's candle is not a black candle, but it is spiky, and you could even, if I dragged out trend, kind of intersect around here. Again, it's not marked on it, but there's the ceasefire gap. BlackRock, again, spiky from a 200-day yesterday. Today was actually down a little bit. That's interesting again. There's the ceasefire gap. Blackstone, tagged teal gap. No sign of a turn there, though. Caterpillar down 3%. Again, in the case of CAT, the ceasefire gap was already been tagged today, which is kind of interesting. Kamiko up 2, or Kamiko as maybe Americans would say. 2.5%. Nothing bearish there. Carnival, a lot of chop around the 50-day and the 200-day. Cleveland Cliffs did have structure of a multi-week bear flag, but it's kind of getting too long. So if there was a bear flag spanning 2 weeks that played out, this one should have played out here, but it jumped on the ceasefire, and we're clawing up. Coinbase up 6%. People are hoping that Bitcoin has got a clear resistance. Decker's another spiky candle. It's pretty stark. Disney, second day above the 50-day. Bad video. You got to see the Jester Bell video about Avengers Doomsday. So apparently they're going to be spending 700 million on that. Downey Jr. is probably going to get 100 million paid packet, maybe more. And the film probably needs to make 1.3 billion dollars just to break even, which is insane. Forward unchanged. That is that a black candle? No, not quite, but it is stuck around the 50-day. Did actually Freeport break a new historic high? No, it was about 14 cents shy of the February historic high. If it's got a stall, it needs to stall right now. There's the ceasefire gap. Google, 1.3%, nearing a new historic high. Home Depot struggling. I do like this one as a short. I really do. I'm not short it, but it was kind of nice just to see it cool back a little bit today. At least one thing, at least a few stocks made sense. Heckler had a black candle yesterday. A lot of the mining stocks did. Intel, again, we need to know Intel had a new historic high, 65.84. Only a marginal high, but still it's a new high. Ceasefire gap, 55.52. That is basic downside target. So we have about $9 of downside. I have to think that we're going to come down to at least tag that yellow gap at 55s, maybe fill it to 52. Minimum downside target is that. So even if it goes up a few more dollars, that gap zone, the ceasefire gap, is going to have to be dealt with sooner or later. JP Morgan down 1.7%. Again, they love selling the financials off on earnings. So this one had earnings yesterday, Tuesday, and they were good. And there's the ceasefire gap. It's already back to that. It's not great, is it? It's despite the fact it had good earnings, a lot of these financials um had good earnings. That Wells Fargo today had earnings, right? Look at that. Actually, that was yesterday. See, earnings yesterday, it was down like 7%. Today it was down another 1.7. Not great. I mean, look at Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo is actually below the ceasefire gap. It's terrible. Again, earnings were okay. They weren't bad. They weren't great, but they weren't bad either. Oh, I'm not even short this right now. I mean, I bailed on my short, right, at the open, which was around, yeah, I got out of KKR at 91 when I was short. And to see it at 103 is just bizarre. I'm like, oh my God, I managed to escape that madness as well. So you see the Monday candle breaking above the 50-day, and we just keep going. You think, where's the next resistance? Well, it's like, it's about 116. I mean, you even have a little bit of volume on this move here, right? 3 days where volume was picked up relative to that. So the KKR is still bullish, not overbought yet. Don't care about some of these. Meta's pushing against the 200-day. MP Materials, Microsoft. Oh yes, solid gains for Microsoft, 4.6%, 411. Again, now we're clearly on our way to green gap. It's not even like, we're going to do it tomorrow. Probably not. Maybe Friday or Monday, Tuesday. Again, unless there's a war story, in which case we could come back down to the ceasefire gap. But in Microsoft's case, there really isn't one. Actually, there was. It's there, right? That's the ceasefire gap, but it cooled back with a big black candle. Micron down 2%. Even this one can't go up every day. Netflix solid gains, 1.3%. Earnings are due Thursday after hours, and they should be fine. And the fact that we did close above a 200-day today, so you can think next big resistance is green gap around 115, 116 back in November. Yeah, it is overbought. So the notion of buying here is like risky. Worst case, they still wash it out to around purple gap with the 50-day. But earnings should be fine either way. Nike was up almost 3% today on news partly on news, but Tim Cook of Apple and CEO Hill of Nike bought roughly $1 million of stock each. So keep in mind that the last time that Tim Cook and CEO Hill bought stock, they bought around here in late December around $56. I think they literally bought the low. Of course, it bounced to 66, and it didn't end so well, right? So they have a block of stock each around 56, and then they bought from the 42s. Again, this company is clearly going to get kicked out of a Dow, and I am still midterm bearish that one. Nvidia, 1.2%. Again, nothing bearish there. That looks like 11 days straight up. Wow. Oh my God, that's just freaky. ONDS up 6.7%. There was a story in the morning. ONDS is pairing up with a German company to do some kind of European-wide anti-drone network. Looks very promising on a multi-year outlook. So, you know, it was a very good news story. I would suggest you go look for that story. It's definitely long-term bullish. Occidental trying to floor from the 50-day. Pan American Silver. Yesterday's black candle played out as they usually do. Palantir, a third day lower, a third day higher, up 4.7%. So we can call this the Trump tweet low of 122 when he literally issued a little positive piece on Palantir, and the stocks had a good 3-day bounce of $20. $20 on 12 on 122 is what? 14%, I think. Yeah. Yeah, roughly 14% in 3 days. Well, across 4 days if you include the low. Again, I would not be bullish, midterm bullish Palantir unless it can go above the 200-day. You could hear it failed there at 162, failed there at 161. So clearing with the 200 days could be very important. And I guess you could argue that, you could be maybe looking to go short around here, and maybe the stop would be around $1 or $2 higher. So momentum's ticking up. There's nothing bearish there in the immediate term. PayPal bouncing with the main market. Red Cat 3%. Transocean trying to bounce, but again, this company doesn't make any money as far as I know. Rocket Lab up almost 2%. That is no, it's not a black candle. SMR up 14%, but look, it's up a lot, right? But look, it's 11s. This stock was $20, actually $22 in January, where it stalled at the 50-day. Black candle, by the way. And it was 57 in October. Peak data center, peak nuclear hysteria. So it's still down roughly what is it down? 80, 84, 85. It's down about 84, 85% since last October. I like the company, but the problem is, to me, I have a concern with the main market and the war, of course. I'm not buying it, but I am watching it, and I do like it for the long term. Target, 2.8%. Nothing bearish there. Tesla had a very strong day, 7.6%. Day 5 up. We're now pushing against the 50-day and the 200-day, and the upper Bollinger. Also, Psi 400 threshold. Won't be easy to clear that. Yeah. Wonder Watch. Actually, this is the most notable thing of all. Look at the volume. Wow, that is the highest volume since maybe last October, which of course was, well, that kind of area there. Not the high. It's the 498 high. The volume was kind of high there, but zero sign of a turn. You see, there's cyclically high, cyclically high. We're still cyclically on the low end. Yeah, bullish Tesla. Take 2, powering upwards. United Airlines down 3%. Somewhat surprising. I mean, especially when you consider oil was down a little bit today. Not much, like 1%. So, I mean, the novelty of, remember this bounced on yesterday on the hopes of merger talks. You see, Monday's candle was red reversal. Tuesday jumped, but we stalled. Look at Tuesday's candle, spiky from the 200-day and the 50-day, and they sold it off again despite oil. This is not great. This is one of the more bearish stocks out there. And cyclically, we're on the high end and we're rolling over. Next week looks to be a problem. Again, the jet fuel shortages should show up next week in the UK and Europe. Soon. Maybe not next week, maybe another week or two after that. But they are coming. There are currently 0 shipments of jet fuel coming from the Middle East for the Europe. We're not going to have any. We're going to run out, or they're going to ration it. I saw some headlines about Some airlines are canceling flights already, but uh, United Health, churn, UPS up a little bit. Exxon, that is a Exxon was fractionally down. That's a reversal candle. We're just checking on Bitcoin. Bitcoin up 1% at 74, 75K. Massive resistance around here. If you break above, bullish. Otherwise, another stall. And look, we're on a cyclically high end. It doesn't mean we can't keep going up. We'll have a triple up cycle like here. But broadly, this is clearly very similar to that, right? It's a chop fest. You see here, we stalled under that price threshold, although I guess you could drag it down and maybe, I like it where it is actually because it's 100K threshold. So that's interesting. Anyway, let's go to gold, silver, and oil. Gold was down officially $46, 1%. We're stalling at secondary gap. Silver was down 20 cents, 0.3%. It's not quite as bearish. It's, I mean, relative to the main market, it was not a great performance. Today's candle is actually a black. Yeah, it's a black candle. It's barely noticeable, even on a close-up chart. But it is there. It's a black doji. So technically, this is bearish silver for tomorrow. What about GDX? I'm just gonna check on a daily candle on a close-up chart. Yeah, this is bullish for Thursday, bearish for Thursday, weakening, and I want to cover nat gas briefly. I mean, look, there's no question about this. Nat gas is dirt cheap right now. It's on the low end, right? Historically, it doesn't like to go much lower than this. Let's just pull out a chart on a weekly. I mean, I guess you could say, look, it could go away maybe down to 150 or 2, but that's, I mean, considering the Middle East right now, this is kind of weird. I mean, cyclically, it's on the low end, so I can understand people getting involved. I'm not going to meddle in it, but anyway, let's go to jump to oil. Oil on a daily chart. Oh, another black candle. That's not good for me. Oh no. Oh no. So yeah, black candle on Monday, played out on Tuesday. We did have overnight weakness to 86.95. We bounced to 93s and we settled fractionally higher at 91.39, but that is a black candle and suggests that Tuesday, or it could happen overnight. You could have a, because these charts, these EOD end of day charts, they include the overnight futures action. So you could see technically oil down a couple of bucks overnight and then swing upwards, but in the cash market, it never really happened. It's quirky how that happens, but depends on how they do their charts. But look, we've had a slightly divergent cycle low that played out. We're cyclically on the really low end. There's no question about it. We're on the low end. We're due to go back up again. And in theory, look, you have 50-day here, lower Bollinger, 84s. Anyway, let's go to USO, which of course is what I'm meddling in. It's on a daily chart. So Monday black candle has been playing out for 2 days now. Today's candle does not offer a floor. We're officially down $1.26, 1%. I mean, in theory, you could even argue we could go to 109, but I mean, if there was a ceasefire extension, I could accept we can keep coming down into next week to maybe 110. There's a little baby unfilled purple gap there. But momentum's on the low end. We've been taken down for what, 6 days? So I would note that even if we do floor tomorrow or go up on Friday, momentum probably won't turn positive until at least next Tuesday or Wednesday. Let's look at an hourly chart to get some more microcycle. Again, it's basically since, I mean, other than yesterday morning where we saw a little bit of a cooling wave, all of yesterday, most of yesterday was chop. And today was a lot of chop. I mean, you could argue leaning weak, but in the scheme of things, a 1% drop in oil is relatively minor. So we basically had a day and a half, a day and 3/4 of chop. And there's certainly potential. There's a lot of potential upside. I mean, you could go for 131s. You got teal gap around 133s, and we're not overbought. We were overbought all of this, all of this, and we're not right now. We're on the low end. And we're not cyclically. We're fractionally negative. So there's plenty of upside potential tomorrow or Friday. And I'm more wondering about what about Monday? So, I would not be going long here. This is where was I selling here? Oh God, I don't even remember. All the days are blurring into one. I'd have to look through my trading screen to remember whether I had any trades around here. I honestly don't remember. I know I had a trade on Monday I sold at the open, right there. So I sold there, bought a block there and there. So all I need is a little push to 127, 128, whether it's tomorrow or Friday, and I would probably exit. But I'm thinking I want to be long for across the weekend for Monday. Because the market does like jumping on Mondays. I mean, there was this Monday gap, right? That was this big drop, by the way, of course, was the ceasefire drop. And of course, that day there, what day of the week was that? 2nd of April. God, I'm completely losing my mind. I guess that was for, okay. This jump was on 2nd of April. It was Thursday? Good, not just before Good Friday. Yeah, that would have been the Thursday before Good Friday. Yeah, so we had a big jump on the Thursday. Huh. Okay. Anyway, I'm tired. So I'm pretty comfortable in oil. I think, the setup looks reasonable for either tomorrow or Friday. And, if for whatever reason, if I'm going to hope that maybe I wake up tomorrow and oil will be up 4 or 5%, in which case I would just clear the decks, take another two gains, and walk away for a while, maybe Friday. And if not, if I have to hold into next week, that's fine. I can live with that. But the one concern with about oil is I'm worried about a ceasefire extension. That you know, I mean, they could just do that. They don't have to have a meeting. For instance, they don't have to have a meeting. They don't, right? They just agree on it. We're going to agree to extending the ceasefire by a couple of weeks, and that will take us into May before you realize it. So there's that. But broadly, I think oil is the most straightforward trade in my view. So maybe I'll get lucky tomorrow morning. Maybe not. Maybe we'll even be down. In which case, and I'll have to endure some pain for a little bit. And there was this little gap down here, but you can see on the ceasefire announcement, the market floored from this gap, which was also linking up with this gap from the 23rd of March. Interesting how that happens, right? It's like a overlapping gap from another week behind, and it had a look at the candle. What candle was that, by the way? It's a hollow red reversal candle, which is a flooring candle. I mean, I didn't buy on after the ceasefire. I could have been buying that, and I wasn't, and I'm kind of annoyed about that. And you see, the next day we actually gapped up. We rolled over again, which is when I was buying. Yeah, I bought here and I sold here. I didn't buy. I didn't have the confidence to buy here though. I was completely spooked by the ceasefire announcement, even though the candle was a reversal. Oh, so we'll have to see what we get tomorrow. I wish you a good evening, and hopefully entertaining Thursday. In theory, equity should be down and all should be up, but it will be what it will be. Good night.